This video is in response to the USA School Beatings Anything Goes video. In particular, it is addressed to the young lady on the video, Angie, and her mom. Angie, who attends a school in Tennessee where they have corporal punishment, that is where they can hit children and students with a wooden board called a paddle. So this video in particular, it is addressed to them, but anybody who attends school or has children that attend a school where they use corporal punishment can benefit from this video. Now, to Angie's mom, I'd like to say this. You were very concerned about Angie attending such a school. You want to protect her. You want her to be safe, which is typical of any mom. Now, from what I understand about most of these schools that use corporal punishment, that you would have to sign something, that the parents would have to sign some form saying that they could paddle. And by simply not signing the form or by marking down no on the form, they would not be able to paddle Angie. However, I do know that not all schools have such a form. Some schools can paddle with or without parental consent. And I have also heard of cases where parents have marked down no on the form and their children have still gotten paddled. I've heard of cases where moms have written letters to the school saying, "Don't paddle my child," and they've still gotten paddled. So writing a letter would only go so far. And from what you say in the video, I get the impression that no such form exists, that the school where Angie attends, they don't need you to consent to it. So sending a letter would only go so far, probably wouldn't work. After all, when Angie goes out in the real world, you're going to send letters to all the hoodlums out there saying, "Don't rape Angie, don't attack Angie." It's not going to work. So, the best way to teach children, and in particular teenagers, the best way to protect them is by teaching them to protect themselves. That's how we start with when their children are really young, really small. We teach them stuff such as don't talk to strangers, don't go into a stranger's car or house, don't take gifts from strangers, etc., etc. And so we teach them from a very early age such stuff. So the best way to protect, in particular, the best way to protect teenagers is to teach them how to protect themselves. So the best way for you to protect Angie would be to teach her to protect herself. Show her this video. Teach her what you can. Now to Angie, I'd like to say this. You're going to the school where they paddle students, and you were very concerned about this. You talked about how some of your friends get paddled, most of them boys. As far as avoiding the paddle yourself, I would say this. A lot of people would say, don't get in trouble in the first place. Don't do anything that would get you paddled in the first place. And they've got a good point there, I think. But, from what I understand, they paddle people for some of the most minor infractions. I've heard of people being paddled for being a few minutes late to class, chewing gum during a break period, not having their shirt tucked in. There was this one young lady in Alabama. She was faced with the paddling when she wore a dress to prom, which supposedly it wasn't cut low enough. It wasn't cut low enough below the knee, and the top was a bit revealing, which did not comply with the school dress code. And so she was faced with the paddling, although she did not take the paddling. She instead took a 3-day suspension, and I commend her for that. More teenagers need to be like that. She certainly sets a good example. So this is what I tell you if you ever do get faced with the paddling. I mean, an attractive young lady like you, of course, they most likely are going to try to find some excuse to paddle you. As you said so yourself, that it's a form of sexual assault. Well, yeah, it is. Your body belongs to you. You've got a right to your body. And the buttocks, along with the genitals, it's a private part. It's a sexual assault. Any way you look at it, they might say, "Oh, well, when they paddle, they're not getting any sexual arousal." Well, you don't know that, number one. Number two, even if they aren't, that's beside the point. The act itself is sexual. As in the case of rape, that often rape is not done for sexual gratification. It is done as a form of punishment or humiliation for the victim. And so with rape, as is the case sometimes, that has nothing to do with sex other than the act itself, but doesn't make it any less sexual. Same thing with paddling. And besides, seeing attractive women getting paddled, that's the kind of stuff you see in porn. They make porn videos that have that sort of stuff. And from what I also understand is that when they paddle students in high school, attractive young ladies in high school, that they will often catch it on camera. You talked about how they have cameras in the hallways in your school, and nowadays with the kind of technology, you could have a pen that has a little hidden camera inside it, a belt buckle, a necklace, a wristwatch, a drinking mug, just about anything could have a hidden camera inside it. And from what I know, they will sometimes catch the paddling on camera and then sell it as porn on the black market. And so if you let them paddle and they do that, you could have all these perverts adding this scene of you getting paddled to their porn collections. I don't think you'd want that. I don't think your mom would want that. Well, you wouldn't want to get paddled in the first place. And so that's what I'm going to talk about now. If you ever are faced with the paddling for whatever reason, just get out of there. Don't take the paddling, just get out of there. If the teacher tells you go to the principal's office, you say the principal has a paddle there. So if the teacher says go to the principal's office, you're going to get paddled, don't even show up at the office. As soon as you're out of the classroom, just walk away, get away from the school, walk off the school grounds, and walk away from the school. If they tell you to go out in the hall to get a paddling, get out of there. Don't stick around for the paddling. Don't let them do it. Don't cooperate. Don't assume any position. Just get out of there. Just immediately leave the area. If you end up having to take a detention or suspension, do that. Even if you have to spend your Friday evening or your Saturday in detention when you could be out with your friends, it's better than being paddled and being violated like that. There'll be other Fridays. There'll be other Saturdays. If you have to take a 3-day suspension, well, it's a 3-day holiday. You say, oh, it might affect your chances of getting into college. It'll be on your record. Not necessarily. Not all colleges look at your record to see if you were suspended, and in some cases, it's actually against the law for colleges to check records of suspension. So that's my advice I have for you. Just don't let them do it. You could show this video to your friends, tell them what I'm telling you. Just if you're faced with a paddling, just get out of there. Get as far away and as fast as you can from the school. Just whatever you do, just don't let them do it. Don't have that attitude like, oh, I have to take the paddling. You don't. All right, your body belongs to you. You don't have to let them do this to you.